So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. Her name is Commodore Esther Obunaya, but she's going to introduce herself. And yes, ma'am. You can introduce yourself now.
Thank you very much. I'm highly privileged to be here in Narratives and Beyond. And I believe that by the grace of God, we'll be able to pass some wealth of experience to the younger generation. I am retired Navy Commodore Esther Abosede Ogbonnaya. I served in the Nigerian Navy 32 years, and I headed several institutions, both professional and the welfare institutions like secondary school, primary schools, and then tertiary institutions like language schools, where we train naval personnel and their wards. So I'm really very happy to be here today to be able to share my wealth of experience with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma. Wow, that's a lot already, and I'm excited because I know we're going to learn a lot today. You've had so much. 32 years you put in the military, and that's a lot. Of course, we'll not be able to explore what you gained, what you contributed to the Nigerian nation, and of course Africa as a whole in 32 years. We can't explore that within the short time that we have on this platform today. So I'm just going to be sharing. I'm just going to be asking a few questions from you, ma'am. So can you share a bit about your early years? What inspired you to join the Nigerian Navy in the first place? Especially, Nigerian Navy or the military is male-dominated career. What inspired that? Is it because you are so tough that you feel, okay, I'll do better in this area? Because when I see the military, I'm always scared of them. So what inspired your joining the Nigerian Navy and then taking a career in the military?
Oh, thank you very much. You see, growing up, I had just one elder brother, and my father happened to be in the Air Force, the Nigerian Air Force. And my father believed that my elder brother would succeed him, would join the military. But my elder brother turned it down. And each time my father came back home, he would say to me, boss, you are just a girl. I wish you were a boy. And this thing your brother does not want to do, you will be able to do it. And honestly, then I was in the secondary school. And I said, Daddy, what a boy can do, a girl can do it as well. I promise you, I will join the military for you. But which of the militaries, I don't know. Back then, NDA was meant for only men. So it means for me to join, I have to go to the university. I must have my first degree. So I promised him that as soon as I have my first degree, I will join the military. And that was what inspired me. And going up, I found the Navy very, very fascinating, maybe because of their uniform. And then I had also some mentors there. And I said, I'm not going to join the Air Force. The Air Force is not as appealing to me in terms of uniform than the Navy. So that is why I decided to join the Navy. So that was awesome. What inspired me to fulfill my father's dreams.
Wow, thank you, ma.
Thank you.
But I'm sure that you enjoyed it in the long run, because when I met you some years ago, you were still actively in service then. I'm sure you really enjoyed your stay in the military in the long run.
Well, I did, but not without challenges. It's a male-dominated environment. So you have this skepticism that a female, they will not be able to cope with the stress, because we go through the same
Mm,
All of us. And there's this adage in the military: there is no woman in the military. So once you get in there, that's why
mm,
you hear morning, sir. You can never hear morning, ma. Everybody is a
mm,
male in the military. So getting in there,
mm.
one has to be determined. I was so determined to make my father proud, and I just faced everything with resilience, and I ensure that I was really competent in everything I needed to do, beginning from the training school. It was difficult, but I
Mm.
was always excelling. And everybody keeps saying, Esther, what did they do you? I said, well, it is just God. And I had God at my, the center of my life. And that was how I was able to
Mm.
get in there and to prove my,
Awesome.
yes. I made sure I shattered every barrier that comes my way. I redefined the possibility of women coming into the service. I made them know that women
Mm.
can just do as much as men would do. And I left a legacy for them.
That's true.
Courage and excellence. That's what I
Mm.
did for 32 years.
Awesome. 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 Wow. Wow. We're still warming up. There is so much you're already saying already. Now, your 32 years and the background in economics that you have, how would you say this has influenced your leadership? But of course, you can't get to the cadre of a general, of a military general, as a commodore, without having to lead people at different times, in your career. So would you say that economics in your background influenced this? We're still going to talk about you having a PhD, Yes.
I for that I actually love reading. I love to study. I love to study. That's something about my life. I love reading, and it was my dad, that inculcated that in us, to make sure, especially during holidays, you expect children to run around. It gives you a book. You read it and come back and give a summary. So with my economics, I had
Mm,
that opportunity of, applying the principles of economics in my life. I noticed that resources are always scarce. So I have that
mhm,
resource mindset that resources can never be
mm,
enough. So I was very strategic in applying it to every management situation I find myself. I used my resources efficiently. And how did I do this? I made sure that everything I have with me, I sit back, the human capital, and every other thing, I made sure that I take decisions, strategically plan, and make sure that those things are applied to help me achieve what they are meant for. And that is how I managed with my
mm,
economics. And it really paid off. I never lacked. You see, the present
mm. Awesome.
administrator, the one that was just picked up now, where
Yes.
I
Yes. In River State.
Ibas. He was my
Yes.
very senior officer.
Yes.
He was always we were always somehow working. I was always reporting to him, and he would just say, "Boss,
Oh, wow.
boss, I know you will manage." I said, "Sir, this is not enough." He said, "I should be. You studied economics." I say, "Okay," and I will make sure I use the resources in such a way that you prioritize things. So many things contest for the
Mm,
resources. So you prioritize the ones that will make you achieve your goal, especially the strategic goal that's
mm,
set for you. So you use that, and I taught my staff, the ones that work with me, on the need not to waste resources. So, and that is how I did it all through
mm.
32 years. So it was always very eager to have to work with me. You say, I know, but you will do it for me. So that's the way I do it.
Mm.
Just management of the
Mm.
resources.
How
I,
can, okay. All right, man. Thank you so much. So I want to ask a follow-up question. Wastage is part of the challenges that we are having in leadership, for instance, in Africa, and, all over the world as well, having to resource control and having to manage resources effectively. How can leaders, especially young leaders, ensure that they cut down on wastage and ensure that they are effective as leaders through resource control and management of, because I read economics too in my first degree, so I can relate to what you are saying very well.
I know, and you
you
are an
know
economist. You are an economist. Since I met you, I could see it in you. Oh, that's good.
Yes, ma'am. So how can young leaders manage the limited resources they have to become effective leaders, in your view?
Yeah, you see, the young leaders of these days, it's well, the problem they lack is lack of focus. They seem to be looking at what others have or what others are doing. When you give leadership to our young people, the first and foremost thing is to be focused. What does my organization require from me? Not what I can achieve, not what I can make profiteering. Leadership is not profiteering. Our young people are very materialistic, and so they kind of put that advantage of what will I get in this situation forward than looking at what they are supposed to do. As young leaders, the first thing they must have is a focus. Once they have that focus, then they must ensure that every material to them is focused on what they are supposed to use it for. Not, okay, this one has come, somebody come, you must have your own mind. As a leader, so many people will come to you with this advice, that advice. This is the way we used to do it. That one is very common. When you just get into the office, somebody comes, this is the way we used to do it. We used to do this, we used to do that. No. You plan your own life according to the way you feel and the way the Lord is guiding you. Sorry, I always tell you, I have God at the center of my life. And so everything I do it prayerfully and inquire from God. If only our young ones can just focus on God, who is their creator, and don't yield to workplace pressure and expectations, negative expectations. Say, okay, because the person will just go, used to do this, used to do that. No, don't follow that expectation. Focus on how to understand to grow in that system without soiling your hands. You must focus, learn. Don't be afraid of mistake. Another thing, they fear mistakes. But mistake, failure, it is part of growth. It is part of progress. So some of them are just under pressure. They put themselves under pressure. Oga. No, you must have that self-esteem. And you must have the confidence that you can make it. When you have all those confidence, you find out that even when you make mistakes, you own up to it and you correct it. And all the resources given to you you will be able to manage it, prioritize it, and make sure you don't have financial challenges, and poor management, money management. If your salary is a particular amount, I always tell my young officers, 30% of what you earn after your tithe is for the future. Don't ever start, because it's when you want to start looking at some other person that has Lamborghini and the rest of it, that you run yourself in trouble. But if you just stick by what you have that is your own, you will not put your hand in the organization's resources. And with that,
Resources.
especially finance, you will not put your hand. You will have that financial literacy for your own life. Once you have that and it is settled, you manage the resources of the organization. So you must be informed on financial literacy, decisions to invest. No investment is too small. Just begin, just start investing. Like when I was very young in the service, my first rank, that is a sub-lieutenant, to a lieutenant, that's about 4 years. I tell you, what was my salary? 300 naira. But within those 4 years, I had 13 plots of land in Lagos.
Wow.
And my husband,
Wow.
what is wrong with you? Why are you always grabbing? I said, my dear, I'm an economist. I cannot steal in the Nigerian Navy. Everybody knows me to be a Christian. So let me plow my own money. It was really very tough. It was tough. Because out of that money, I had to take 200 every month from 300.
Wow.
Remember,
Wow.
30 naira for tithe. So if you have that financial literacy and multiple streams of income, like now, the generation we are in, they can make money easily on the internet. They can do so many things for themselves. Be creative. That you will be okay. And you balance your career life. If you can balance your career life with your personal life, don't neglect your well-being. You have to be healthy. You have to be strong. Then you'll be able to manage the resources. Because if you are always sick, somebody will deputize for you and take decisions you can take. And at the end of the day, you will be blamed for mismanagement or misappropriation of resources. So
Thank you, Ma. You've said a lot of things. In fact, you've taken us into financial management and all of that, which I'm hoping that I'll be able to come back to that. I want to ask. You've talked about God and all of that, so I want to ask, how has your Christian faith shaped your leadership? And how has that contributed to how you've taken upon yourself to mentor younger people or young people?
Oh, my brother, it's a wonderful thing to be in the Lord. Knowing God very early is good. I got to know God when I was in my higher school at Federal Government College, Kaduna. And along the line, one thing leads to the other. Children, youthful exuberance. I was a sports girl, and I misfired. What did I misfire? I was a moralist too, but when I got to the university, I stopped attending programs. I was focused on my study, and then sports. I was always on the sports field, doing one thing or the other. But by the grace of God, God fished me out, because each time I came, maybe use some foul language, my mind will tell me, you say you are Christian, oh, see what you have just done. So I decided to go back to Christ, and it helped me. In 1987, I gave my life. I became moralist, totally moralist. I don't go to parties. I don't. But I knew something was missing. What I had in my higher school. So 87, I gave my life to Christ, and it was wonderful. It was at the right time, because I'm telling you, the military is male dominated. And they are people that will want to intimidate you as a woman. So with my faith in God, every skepticism and the kind of sect I'm in, no jurors, no this, no that, they will come and call me into the office and say, my friend, what do you think we are doing here? Is this a mortuary? Is this are we mourning here? Beautiful as you are, just go. And there's this mess, we call it mess, happy hour. Every Friday, you find yourself in the mess. They call it mess, officers' mess. I'm sure you will know. What do we do there?
Yes.
It's a parade. The senior officers will come, and you will come to socialize with them. And they have their kind of jokes. My brother, it is well. And they will be watching you. Some of them will ask you, come, take this beer. And if you say, sorry, sir, I don't drink, they will fine you to buy a carton of beer for them. And the money is removed from source. It's not you. You don't have a choice. The money is removed from your salary.
Wow.
Oh, yes. So once you are fined, your salary has reduced maybe by 2 naira or something, whatever it is. But the Christian faith really helped me. It was my source of strength. It was my source of courage. I was very prayerful, and I persevered. I never compromised one day by the grace of God. And I started leading with integrity and purpose, because I had the belief that they watch me. Ogbonnaya, call Ogbonnaya to come and do this, to do that, just to see what will happen to me. And most times I will return their change. They say, very good, Mother of Jesus, you have done well. You do well, though. Thank you very much. And the person will tell you, I'm going to Kolobi this morning. But I always have in mind, suppose Christ comes now, this morning, and heaven. Actually, the reason why I returned back to Christ was I want to walk on the streets of gold in heaven. And because of it, I had to stay on God. My leadership was with integrity and purpose. Honesty, humility and service. My leadership was not with abioga, that kind of a thing. And there was fairness, there was integrity, and I believe leadership is serving others selflessly, which God and my faith helped me to achieve. That was how I was able to overcome all the challenges. It was God's divine guidance.
Thank you, ma.